You weren't too much. You were just raised by someone who was physically there, but emotionally miles away. And if you've ever felt like you're too much and never enough at the exact same time, this is for you. An emotionally unavailable parent doesn't have to be cruel. They don't have to be absent. They might have been at every dinner, every birthday, every school event, but they couldn't or wouldn't connect with your inner world. Today, we're connecting the dots between who raised you and who you became. We're going through 5 signs of emotional neglect. Pay close attention to sign 4. It's the one most of us wear like a badge of honor, without realizing it's actually a survival wound, and it might change how you see your entire personality. Let's start with the first way this shows up in your adult life. You work hard, you achieve things, you do everything right. And yet, there is this quiet voice inside that is always asking, is it enough? Am I enough? When you grow up with a parent who withholds warmth or approval, you don't stop needing it. You just start chasing it everywhere else, in your career, in your relationships, in the way you over-explain yourself or shrink yourself, depending on who's in the room. You become someone who is very good at performing and very unfamiliar with just being. And the painful part? Even when people do approve of you, it doesn't stick, because the wound was never really about them. It was always about that one person who couldn't give it to you when you needed it most. You figured it out pretty fast as a kid. Crying made things worse. Being upset made the adults around you uncomfortable. Showing fear or sadness either got ignored or turned into something about them. So you stopped showing it. You learned to swallow it down. Put a lid on it. Keep moving. On the outside, you became the calm one, the easy one, the one who never caused problems. But on the inside, you were carrying so much. You just got really good at making sure nobody could tell. And now, as an adult, you might notice that expressing emotions feels physically uncomfortable, like your body doesn't quite know how to do it anymore. That is not weakness. That is a survival skill you learned before you were old enough to know you were learning it. Needing things felt dangerous when you were growing up, not because anyone told you that directly, but because every time you needed something emotionally, comfort, validation, someone to just sit with your pain, the response you got taught you that your needs were inconvenient. So you stopped asking. You became fiercely independent, not because it felt empowering, but because depending on someone felt like a risk you couldn't afford. And now, when you genuinely need help, even from people who love you and want to give it, something in you resists. You say you're fine when you're not. You handle it alone even when you're exhausted, because somewhere deep down, you still believe that needing things makes you a burden. You are not a burden, but that belief didn't come from nowhere. It was taught to you. This is the one I told you to stay for. At some point, you realized that someone in your house needed to hold things together, and you decided, consciously or not, that it was going to be you. You became the peacekeeper, the one who managed the room's energy, the one who knew exactly when a parent's mood was shifting and adjusted yourself accordingly. In psychology, this is called being a parentified child. You took on emotional labor that was never yours to carry. People rely on you. People call you dependable. People say they don't know what they'd do without you. But nobody ever asks how you're doing. Not really, because you've made yourself so capable that it doesn't occur to anyone that you might be struggling too. Being the strong one feels like an identity. It feels like who you are. But strength was never supposed to mean carrying everything alone. You are allowed to put it down. All of it. You were never supposed to be carrying it in the first place. This one might feel like a strength, and in some ways, it is. You can walk into a room, and within seconds, you know the temperature. Who's tense, who's upset, what's unsaid. But here is what that skill actually is. It's hypervigilance. It developed because as a child, you had to read your parents' emotional state quickly in order to navigate safely. You learned to scan for danger before it arrived. That kept you safe then, but now you do it everywhere. With your partner, with your boss, with strangers. You are constantly monitoring, adjusting, preparing for a shift that may never come. It is exhausting to live on that level of alert. And most people who grew up this way don't even realize they're doing it because it just feels normal, because it always has been. Here is where it gets important, and I don't want you to miss this. Emotionally unavailable parents almost always had their own wounds, their own parents who couldn't show up for them, their own childhoods where emotions were unsafe, dismissed, or used against them. They didn't learn how to do it. Nobody taught them. This doesn't make the pain less real. Your experience was real. The absence was real. The way it shaped you is real. But the way they treated you was never a reflection of your worth. It was always a reflection of their limitations. The patterns you developed to survive, the people-pleasing, hiding your emotions, the fierce independence, the room reading, those were not weaknesses. They were intelligence. But you are not a child anymore, and the strategies that protected you then are the same ones keeping you from the connection you deserve now. Healing means starting to give yourself what they couldn't. Learning, slowly, imperfectly, sometimes with help, that your emotions are not too much, that your needs are valid, that you are allowed to take up space. It means letting people in, even when it's uncomfortable, even when every part of you wants to manage the distance. If any of this landed for you, if you felt yourself in these words, I want you to sit with that for a moment. Not in a painful way, in a knowing way. Because awareness is always the first step. You can't change a pattern you can't see. And now you can see it. You are not broken. You are not damaged. You are someone who learned to carry things that were never yours to carry. And you are strong enough to start putting them down. Nobody told you this growing up, but somebody is telling you now. You are always enough. You just needed someone who was capable of seeing it.